I've got the top 10 knives and gloves under $200 in a cash price, and today we're going to be breaking down all of them, starting off with the Ursus Marble Fade, coming in at a price point of only around $185. This thing is absolutely perfect if you're looking for a really good finish on a really decent knife in my personal opinion. You've got that very thick blade running up, and the best part about it is obviously it's under $200, but it's still a very desirable finish, which is exactly what we want to look for. It's a very solid option if you're trying to get into a good finish on a decent knife. Coming up second, we got the Gut Knife Doppler. Now the Gut Knife Doppler is not the most ideal knife, but we're talking about one of the best finishes out there, and you've got your pick of the litter. You've got either phase 4, phase 3, or phase 1, all of which are really similar in price. We're talking about $132 versus $133, only $1 difference, and they're really desirable. Honestly, they've got some really good looking ones if you want to check it out. Phase 2 is going to run you a little bit more, but still way under those prices, and you can even throw a Gamma Doppler in there as well if that's something you really want. You've got tons of options. The only downside is obviously it's on a gut knife. Skinland is today's sponsor, and they're also sponsoring you with a free $10 on your first trade using code MasterShiny. And the best part is you're going to be able to cash that out instantly with their brand new system. They've teamed up with Team Vitality to be the best in the game, offering you the lowest prices when you're coming to buy and the highest prices when you're using their instant cash out feature. They've got tons of different payout options when you're looking to sell, and their marketplace is filled with all of the best skins for all of the best prices. It's where I go to do all of my skins related items, and you should too, because they've got the best rates out there right now. Talking about our Huntsman knife Tiger Tooth, coming in at only around $170. This one is extremely desirable in my personal opinion when it comes down to the Tiger Tooth finish. You're getting Tiger Tooth, which is one of the best finishes on actually a pretty desirable knife in my personal opinion. The Huntsman knife is definitely one of the top tier knives. It's not extremely expensive, but I still think it looks quite good. It's a little bit older, a little bit more unique, and not everyone's running around with one. And at a price point of only $170, you're getting one of the best finishes in my personal opinion on a knife that's still extremely solid. Number 4 on my list is going to be going to the Talon knife Urban Mass. Now this one is definitely going to be fluctuating in price. I've got it just under $200 right now, but it could change. It's definitely one that's a little bit more active than some of these others, but I still think it's in a very good position when we're talking about the desirability. It's a Talon knife, and it's one of the few that you can get in for around $200 in a cash price, so it's got that desirability about it. Obviously, Urban Mask is not everyone's favorite finish on it, but I actually don't mind it too much, and I think it's a really solid finish for a decent knife if that's what you're pulling for. Now coming in with one of my favorites inside of this budget, I think it's going to be the Survival Knife Slaughter in a factory new format. You can get this thing for only $143 cash price. It's definitely one of my favorites. I think the Slaughter is absolutely perfect when it comes to a finish, and the Survival Knife does it so well. You've got a large blade. It's not too big though. It's not like your Bowie, and the best part about this one, obviously $143 for a factory new Slaughter finish. It's extremely desirable. It's a little bit of an older one, but I still think it pulls its weight in today's market. Now if you're looking for one of my favorites right now, it's got to be the Bayonet Black Laminate. You're talking about a bayonet, which I honestly think is one of the top 3 most desirable knives out there in my personal opinion, in minimal wear for only $189. It's one of the few that you can get under $200 that looks extremely well, and it's a black laminate. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but I think it's still in a very good position, and honestly one of the more desirable finishes where we're talking about a cheap price point. I really like it, and the Bayonet is extremely solid as a play knife. We're back with one more survival knife because we're talking about the Fade here, only $140 for a Fade. I think the survival knife is one of the cheapest options for a really decent looking knife, and you can get all of the finishes you want. We're talking about the survival knife Fade for only $160, and I think it's a really solid output if you're looking for a Fade knife that's not a gut, that's not a Navajo. This is your next best bet in my personal opinion. Now if you're looking for a skeleton knife, I think you've got one option under $200 in my personal opinion. That's going to be the Night Stripe Field Tested. We're talking about a knife that's only $155. It looks decent enough on the finish. It's not going to be anyone's favorite, but it's a skeleton knife, and at the end of the day, these are extremely expensive, and the fact that you can get a good looking one for only $155 in my personal opinion, I think it's going to be the best bet moving forward. You can check out the other finishes. They just don't stand a chance against the Night Stripe at this price point. Now if you're looking for a Gamma Doppler right now, I think one of the best bets is going to be the Shadow Daggers. It's extremely cheap, coming in at only $108 to $111 depending on the finish you want. You can get any finish you want, and the best part about this is obviously these are extremely cheap. They're way below the $200 price point we set for this video, and honestly I don't think you're going to be able to find anything that looks that much better for a relatively similar price unless you're talking about $300 or $400, which is extremely expensive compared to these ones right here. I think they're solid. They're not anyone's fan favorite unless you're looking for a Gamma Doppler. And lastly, I don't know how this knife slips in here, but the Flip Knife Lore Field Tested's only $165 inside of the current market right now. We're talking about one of the best finishes on a knife at a very high value is only $165 on a flip knife, which I honestly really like the flip knife as well. It's definitely up there in my top 5. This thing is very solid, very phenomenal, and the lore finish is just great to top it off. I think it's a perfect way to wrap up the top top 10. Now when it comes to the gloves, we're once again going to be talking about these cash prices, and there's not a ton of options. First up is going to be the Specialist Gloves Marble Fade, coming in at $175. I think this is honestly hands down the best one you can get if you're looking for a Specialist glove. It's the only ones that are really cheap and desirable, and coming in at $175, it's extremely cheap. I really like what we're seeing for these ones. After that, we've got one of the most expensive finishes out there, the King Snake. You can get the driver gloves field tested for only $176, and these ones are down significantly because of the update, and therefore you're able to capitalize on a price point that I think might be a little bit lower than what we would want to see for something like this. I think they're great gloves, and overall they're solid, especially for the price point, and they're extremely nice and field tested. After that, we got some of the Moto gloves POW and field tested. Now for me personally, these ones are down so much, and I honestly think they're one of the most cool looking ones that have a lot of color you can get for a super cheap price point. Only $113, $112 depending on when you're looking, and that's really cheap considering they've got orange, they've got some bright colors. They're not the most crazy and flashy, but I still personally like them a lot. Another one that's extremely expensive at that top quality is going to be the driver gloves Imperial Plaid. Now unfortunately we have to go battle scarred. You can up a little bit of your price to get some field tested ones, but only $169 for the battle scarred ones. These are purple gloves, and at the end of the day, anything that's a very unique color is going to run you a lot of money, but this is actually your cheapest option to get some really cool looking ones. Otherwise, if you're looking for something very nice and simplistic, the driver gloves black tie and field test is only going to run you about $155 right now inside the current market, which I think is a pretty solid price for these. These are solid, these are nothing insane, but if you're looking for something very simplistic and looks clean for a super cheap budget, this is exactly where I would go. I think they're one of the best when it comes to just a straight up plain glove. Now if you're looking for some of the more unique gloves inside this area, the Moto gloves Polygon and field tested at only $128 are definitely some of my favorites. They're completely blue, and even in field tested they don't look absolutely abysmal. I think it's a great solid option if you want something that's a little bit more unique once again. Coming in number 7, we get driver gloves Rezan the Ready in field tested. Originally I had minimal wear, and those shut up 40% in one day, so they don't make the price point anymore, but the field tested ones are only $83 right now, which is an extremely solid price point. I think they're solid looking gloves. At the end of the day, the minimal wears look better, but they're obviously 3 times the price now. This is still a very solid option. Another good red option is going to be the Moto gloves blood pressure and field tested, only $140. I think these look a little bit better than the previous ones when we're talking about straight up field tested comparisons, but they are almost double the price, so you do have to wait your battles, but these ones are extremely solid and they're Moto gloves. If you're looking for some of the most unique gloves out there, the finish lines in field tested, their Moto gloves are going to be only $105. These ones have got that checkerboard pattern. If you're looking for a unique craft to match up with some unique knives, I think this is going to be your best option, but they're not definitely going to be for everyone. And lastly, wrapping it up, we've got the Moto gloves Turtle coming in at only $89. These things in field tested are green, and they're honestly a pretty solid option for this cheap of a price point when we're talking about gloves. But that's all I got. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.